Hi there, everybody. Are you all right? Are you good? Can you hear me clearly? Please tell me if you can. Thank you for joining me. I've called a few of you on here, hoping that you can hear me. Karibuni sana. Today we're going to talk about Gashagwanes. Gashagwanes politics. Hey, man. People have been rambuad. Watu wameramba na kuambia. Leo nitaongea na Kiswahili na pia hata nitaongea na Kizungu kidogo, lakini please mnisamehe because hii Kiswahili yangu ni ya kuomba tu maji, lakini wacha nijaribu, kwa sababu niliambiwa kwamba hata Uhuru mwenyewe alijifunza Kiswahili na siku hizi yeye ni ace na swa. Okay, so sasa sisi we have been treated to drama as Chris Kumekucha anatuambianga drama bin drama. Nakwambia tumechokeshwa sisi wa Kenya. We are so tired. And everything I say in Swahili I'll also say in English, okay? Tumechokeshwa sana, by the way, because ni kama hawa watu kama hawana kazi ingine ya kufanya except kuchimbana, all the time, just stabbing each other behind their backs. I have never seen such feces. Haa ndio mafisi kabisa. Haa ndio wanaitwa mafisi proper. Karibu yule ambaye amekuja. Welcome whoever has joined me, welcome. In fact, by the way, it's time tufikirie sana what kind of a country we're living in. What kind of a continent are we living in? As you saw, we were treated to drama last week, and Gashagwa, the guy who went and organized together with a bunch of people to go and steal the goats of Uhuru's mom's garden. Nakwambia siku hizi I believe in curses. Yes, I believe in curses. They happen. They are real. Mimi sikufikiria kwamba curses zinafanyika. I didn't believe it. Sikuwa nafikiria kwa sababu mimi ni Mkikuyu. I don't know why. I never thought that curses really work, but they do. Hii Gachagua ile kitu na rip ni hiyo curses. Kabisa curses. And don't ask me to feel sorry for Gachagua because I won't. But what I will feel bad about ni injustice. Nikiona vile vitu zimeendelea last week, vile alikuwa unfairly tried. That was a very unfair trial. When I saw that unfair trial last week, it was terrible for me. As a professional, mtu ambaye amesoma, somebody who's educated, highly educated, like many people are, I was like, haya, na kwa nini? Why am I not in parliament? Why am I not at the Senate? Why? Why am I not there? Why am I not the speaker? After Amason Kingi tried, he did his best. He did his absolute best, I think. But those senators were not listening. When it comes to justice, it's not just a matter of the actual justice itself, it's also perception. Ni lazima uonekana kama unataka kupeana that justice. You want to be fair, you also want to be fair. Nasalimia my neighbor. Now, you want to be seen as fair. It's not just about being fair. So, guys, let's talk about this case that was there last week. Sasa sisi wa Kenya tuende wapi? Tukimbie wapi? Na we only have one country. We only have this country of Kenya. And for those other people who are watching me from other countries, we have Africa. And by the way, did I introduce myself? Oh my God. Okay, jina langu ni African Queen Mo Cardiff. My name is African Queen Mo Cardiff. And I'm based in Nairobi right now in the beautiful lush green environment. Yes, India, our beautiful country. Lakini politics ni sumu kabisa. The politics is sumu. Sasa guys, if you want to join me, I've got a link over there. Nimeweka link. If you go into the comment section, you can see a link and you can join me in the studio. Now, don't be afraid when I speak in Swahili because I'll be speaking Swahili and English because I need to also ensure that people who are in Kenya can understand me. Yeah, guys, you understand? Yeah, so if you want to join me, please join me. Let's talk. Some of you guys I know are working from home, so you're not in the offices. You can take some time off. It's about 3:15 right now in Kenya. So you can take some time off and join me in studio. Let's talk about these things. I had scheduled this earlier, but I'm sorry I couldn't get on. So let me get to the point now. So there's this guy called huyu mtu anaitwa Mutuse. There's this guy called Mutuse. 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 And I saw somebody write Mtu used. I would actually say too useless. Too useless. He's an MP and he's a member of parliament, and he moved a motion to impeach the president, to impeach the deputy president on 11 counts. All right, on 11 counts. Now those counts, hey, in fact, I had written them somewhere, but it doesn't really matter. Let's not worry too much about them right now. But the trouble is that he couldn't provide the evidence. As the person who is the, what do you call them now? There's the accused, and then there's a person who is the accuser, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you, as the person who is the person who is the plaintiff, would it be the plaintiff or the accused? The person who actually moves a motion is the one who's supposed to provide the evidence, to support his motion of 11 accusations and charges against the deputy president. But did he? Did he? No, he could not defend himself, he could not defend anything. He could not provide any evidence. And it was so embarrassing. And the worst thing about it, Nikwamba, he actually moved the whole parliament, like more than three-quarters of that parliament, basically. It's only 40 members who voted against the impeachment of the deputy president. But 281 or 282 parliamentarians, people who are said to represent us, you and me, yeah, they actually moved to remove the guy. To remove him. And they didn't have any basis. Hawakuwa na any basis. They didn't even know, hawakuwa na strong case. They had no strong case. Just, I don't like you and I need you out. Or you said this to me and therefore you need to go. Kuna wanawake wengine walikuwa nasema kwamba ati Gachagua aliwaongelesha vibaya. He was talking badly to women, and he was exhibiting signs of discrimination against women. And so he needs to be impeached. But it takes much more to impeach a president, because ukifikiria how it took us so much to go through that election in 2022. How much money was spent even in the courts, and time, and the emotions of Kenyans. And you think that you can just impeach a president just like that? Listen, first of all, let me explain something. I am not on the side of Gachagua. Yeah, I'm not. I am not on his side. But I'm on the side of justice and the Constitution. Because you and I will be subjected to the same Constitution if you and I are in office, or one of our friends or relatives is in office. You and I will be subjected to the Constitution, which is supposed to be our defense. Yeah. And if we cannot rely on our Constitution, and we cannot rely on our justice system, the political system, and we cannot rely on the justice system, we are finished. Sisi tumeisha kabisa. We are finished as a country, guys. We are finished. Lakini, let's look at the highlights. The highlights, the good things that came out of this whole thing were Elisha Ongonya, some winners. This guy Elisha. There was this guy Elisha who basically won this. He stole the show. He's an amazing lawyer, and I would love to play you his video. Only that I don't know how to play it. I wonder who can come behind me and play it. Hi Ida, lovely to see you there. Lovely to see you. That's my friend Ida. She's all the way from the US, and she's joining me. She's my long-term friend. So Ida, we're talking about the impeachment of our deputy president in Kenya and the economy in Kenya, which is like tanking. Things are tough from all those days, years ago that we were in America. I was in America and I was in school. Nilikuwa nasomea America shule. Na mpaka sasa, I've raised my kid. He's over 30. And even till now, we're still struggling financially. Why? Why? Just because of bad leadership in our country. So basically, there's this guy called Elisha Ongonya who basically stole the show because he showed a very strong defense. He was one of the defense lawyers for Gachagua. And you know how many defense lawyers these people had? Like about 13. There were 13 defense lawyers, and about the same number on the side of the prosecution. Yeah? On the side of Mutuse, there were like about 14 lawyers. So therefore, I mean, how much money has been spent on this case? Hata hatuulizi ni pesa ngapi zimetumika. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. And it could have gone to our economy, to creating jobs. It could have gone to solving cases of people's cases which are backlogged. Kuna watu wako prison sahi who should not be serving prison sentences. And yet they cannot get a hearing. They cannot get a hearing date. But this particular thing was taken so fast. Yeah? It was like so fast. Ridiculous. So the senators, okay, so the parliamentarians, MPs, 281 voted to impeach. From the parliament, it went to the Senate. Okay, the Senate is supposed to be, when I eat the upper house, they call it the upper house. Okay, which is where you're supposed to have those brains, those minds, where they actually do law. It's almost like a high court. It's like a court setting, yeah, before the main high court. It's like a court. It's like, yes, it's a trial chamber. It's a trial chamber. That's the way it was described by Dr. Okot. That the Senate is a trial chamber, and the Parliament is a motions chamber, like a mention chamber, where you mention the case. You mention the case in Parliament, and then you try it in Senate. Quite interesting. I was listening to him. It was quite interesting there. Yeah, and so basically, what happened is that our vice president was impeached in absentia. When I say that, I mean that he was supposed to undergo cross examination by the Senate in the afternoon. He was there all morning, and then in the afternoon, he didn't show up. He disappeared. Yeah, disappeared, kabisa. And then the Senate came together and decided to give it. I mean, well, should I say the Speaker of the Senate recommended that he be given another 2 or 3 days, like up until Saturday. They could hear the case on Saturday. But the senators were in such a hurry to impeach Gashagwa without him being able to defend himself, without his defense, without him representing himself, yeah, that they actually just said, no, we're not waiting. And they voted to impeach him. And they voted, like, how many of them? 40 something senators. Yeah, so many of them, yeah, voted to impeach him. It was actually very sad. Very sad. Because the reason why it was sad is because it looks like an illegality of sorts. Yeah, because impeachment in absentia is potentially a nullity. It can be nullified. Sasa nitasemaje na Kiswahili? When you are overthrown, literally when you are removed from office without being able to give a voice for yourself, it can be overturned. The issue can be overturned, by the way. It's not legal. It's not really a legal thing what they did, but it looks like already the president quickly identified a deputy president to replace the current deputy president, and he was nominated and almost appointed. I think was appointed. Was he appointed? No, he was nominated by the president already. So we have a name, Kithure Kindiki, a young man who I know, by the way. He's not that young, but I know him. Very smart, a lawyer. He was the head of the Kenya School of Law for a long time. Somebody I respect, PhD, a true PhD, not a fake one, a real true PhD guy. But right now he's in charge of the security docket in Kenya. And the Gen Zs are not happy with him because he seems to have been not very should I say, can I say that he wasn't active? He was not as proactive in ensuring the security and safety of people in Githurai. Okay. So we're not sure about that, and I don't want to state things that are not going to be accurate here in this thing, in this particular show. So basically, the president nominates him. He's a minister for the interior, Kithure Kindiki, as a new deputy president to replace Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is the current deputy president of Kenya. So meanwhile, the former DP, yeah, the team of lawyers for the defense, led by this guy called Muite. He's a senior counsel called Muite. The lawyers for Rigathi Gachagua, led by the senior counsel, kind of tried to challenge the Senate to reassign a date, and the Senate said no. Yeah, and went ahead. And so what they did, those senior counsels, they walked out because they said that they have to be under instruction of the deputy president. And because he was in hospital on an emergency, then they couldn't represent him, and so they walked out. And that basically, that means that when they walked out, then they themselves could not represent the accused. So the accused had no voice. I thought that was a very smart move. It was a chess move, you know. It was a very, very smart move. So what happened is that have I forgotten my Kiswahili? Oh, sorry. So what I can say is senior counsel Mwite walitoka Senate. Yeah, wakatoka Senate juu because they were not given a chance. Yeah, hawakupewa nafasi ya mtu wao. They're accused to represent themselves. Yule Mr. Kashagwa hakupewa nafasi na Senate kujisimamia kwa hiyo case. So that's basically what happened. So what happened is that eventually the deputy president came out of the hospital on Saturday, and they went and approached the courts. Was it on Saturday? On Friday. They went and approached the courts, I believe. And in the High Court issued what they call a conservatory order. And I hear that this is the highest order. A conservatory order was where the case could not continue. The president could not appoint a deputy president, and the case that had been heard already by Senate could not proceed with their conclusion because the High Court now wants to listen. They want to listen in and make their own determination, their own jurisdiction. Because obviously they have to follow jurisprudence. In other words, they have to follow the law. The law has to be followed to the T. Yes, that's the reason why we have a new constitution, you guys. Yeah. Who wants to join me? Anybody wants to join me? Hi, Fia. How are you doing? Hi, welcome. That's another friend of mine from the UK. You guys, come on board. You Kenyans on here, come on board. That's my friend from the UK there. And we have people who are representing different African countries. They are following Kenya, you guys. Yeah. These people who I've mentioned are one from West Africa, the other one from Southern Africa. They're watching us. Yeah. Wanatuangalia, unaona. This has never happened in most of African countries, honestly, seriously. It's embarrassing. So basically what happened is the decision of the Senate was communicated, and then they planned the swearing in, actually. They were hoping to plan the swearing in of the new deputy president on what they call Mashujaa Day celebrations, which were on Sunday. That was about yesterday, yeah? So Mashujaa Day is actually Heroes Day. And so what happened is, yesterday, the president himself had celebrations in one park, yeah, and then the Gen Zs were trying to do a parallel celebration in a different park. In other words, they were trying to show that they're not together with the president. And it became a big problem because the police came and tear gassed Gen Zs and the people who were going to celebrate in the different park. I think it was in Uhuru Park, yeah? The Gen Zs and other people who wanted to do a separate celebration where they wanted to commemorate the deaths of their what they call their own heroes, who were the Gen Zs who lost their lives earlier this year around June during the protests through basically the killings by the police. Who else has guns? It's only the police, yeah? So extrajudicial killings by the police of their young Generation Zs, most of them Gen Zs, yeah? So we also have a lot of people who have disappeared. There's many disappearances, abductions. We also saw a lot of women, bodies that were mutilated and found in a big quarry. There was a young man whose body was found in a quarry. I mean, it is so embarrassing to even talk about this because I feel like I'm talking about a very violent society, which I think we have, you guys. I think we have a very violent society. Don't you think, guys? Hi, Hefsa. Blessings to you. Yeah, we're trying to keep up the spirit. Hefsa, welcome to join in if you want. There's a link over there. You can just decide you want to join, and I'll just let you come in. Yeah. Because it doesn't have to be a monologue, but we can talk anyway. So basically what happened is that there are so many cases. So what happened is the conservatory order was issued by the High Court to stop everything, from proceeding until I think it's later this week on the 24th, which is Thursday. So on Thursday, we are expecting to hear from the High Court. Meanwhile, there were, I believe the president, he challenged this. They were trying to challenge this issue of the High Court, but the High Court has actually stood their ground. For the very first time, I've seen that, for example, Martha Kwame, who is in charge over there, people are standing their ground. We have even heard now from the churches. We have heard from people who are revered and well respected and well known church leaders like Reverend Teresia Wairimo, who actually leads a church where Ruto and his family attend, and who actually was one of the main contributors and supporters of the Kenya Kwanza regime. She has spoken, and she has actually expressed her complete dissatisfaction and disgust, literally disgust, with what's going on, and embarrassment. She has said that she's really embarrassed because she thought, she thought that she was supporting a party that was godly because they came on a ticket, or under the impression, they provided this impression, they came under the false narrative of being pro hustlers and pro God. Yeah. So she thought that because they actually said that they were pro God, that they were pro God. So, but unfortunately, they were not pro God, guys. Yeah. So, but what was so weird is, how is it that me, who is not inside the church, can see so clearly, but those guys who are inside the church, they can't see? I think maybe because those guys who are in church are not really exposed to the reality of what's going on in the real world. Yeah. Because at some points I thought they were pretending. Because I really don't understand how you can talk about praying in tongues, being an intercessor, being a prophet, and not recognizing the devil when you see him. Do you guys wonder about that? Yeah, it's so weird, that people who don't even attend church, people who are probably even Muslims, they can see better. Our eyes are open to evil. We can see the evil. We can see pretenders very easily. Anyway, so in addition to that particular suit that has been filed by the defense lawyers of Gashagwa, there are 30 more plus cases that have been filed in court, and they all have to be heard. So apparently, what has happened is that the Constitution has actually made it deliberately made it extremely difficult to impeach a sitting president. That even a deputy president, that even if this matter goes to court, yeah, it can go on for even years. So that by the time it's over, he has actually completed his rule. Yeah. Because they'll have to go through so much litigation and proving and evidence and providing evidence and, scheduling and rescheduling and listening and going back to the, not just, they're talking about not just to the spirit of the Constitution, but also to the letter of the Constitution as well. Yeah. So it's not just the politics. There's this narrative that this was a political impeachment. But you see, even if they want to use that narrative of political impeachment, I've actually looked up the Constitution, and this Constitution of Kenya allows public participation. We're supposed to participate in, like the way I am right now. Yeah, like the way you are now, you're online. Yeah. So we're supposed to participate. And public participation is part of the political impeachment process. Yeah. It's part of the political impeachment process that is mentioned by the Constitution. So the question is, how are we represented as Kenyans? We are either represented by our members of parliament indirectly, that is indirect, guys, or we can represent ourselves directly. Directly. Yeah. So they need to listen to us. They should have been having a lot of forums. They should have had some, meetings, or, called us to come and meet in places, or even go to court. People can actually submit some sort of like, they can go to court and submit their whatever, their case at the courts. Yeah, because impeachment is a big thing, because this is an elective position. Gashagwa is in an elected position. He's not nominated, he's elected. Unlike the new guy who will come in, who they're proposing to be Kithure Kindiki, and I have nothing against Kithure Kindiki, but that will be a nominated thing. So you can't replace the people's desire with one person's decision. And then I saw somewhere where even Ruto has the nerve to say, I have decided on him, and don't ask me why. Please don't ask me why. Oh my God. So anyway, people's representation has to be there. We have to take action, whether it's direct or indirect. We have to take action, and we should be seen to be taking action. Yes. So, any questions in there? Please ask me any questions. Let's talk, guys. Let's talk. Yeah. Let me tell you some of the things that I don't like about the Senate, and especially the case that was heard at the Senate. There's this gentleman who is called Governor Orengo. Governor Orengo, he was included as one of the team to prosecute the impeachment motion on behalf of the National Assembly. But you know, Governor Orengo already has a position, yeah? Because that means that the deputy president's legal team, yeah, the senior counsel that was on behalf of Gashagwa, they actually declined. You know, they objected to his presence at the National Assembly. Why? Because of conflict of interest. Because he's actually supposed to be a state officer. He's employed by the state. But there was something about the technicality, about, you know, something technical jargon about his actual nomination, where they were saying that he's not appointed. He's not an appointed state official, but an elected state official. That is Governor Orengo. So if Governor Orengo was appointed, then he wouldn't be able to represent Senate. But because he's elected, he's allowed to represent Senate, even if you can see that there is a conflict of interest or a bias of Mr. Orengo's participation in the impeachment process as one of the 14 lawyers. Those are some of the things that, the details that all of us should be aware of. Yeah, that there are these conflicts of interest that are coming up. Yeah. And what will happen to Rigathi Gachagua if he were to be impeached? He'll probably be facing up many years of prison, many years in prison over many of the charges that he has been charged with, because he has been charged with 5 out of 11, and 6 of them have been dismissed by the Senate. Yeah. So those are some of the things that you need to know, that there is a conflict of interest. Apart from the conflict of interest, there's the issue of public participation, which is part of the legislative process, where the public is supposed to be the public participation, which is defined by the International Association for Public Participation. It's the involvement of those affected by a decision, like you and me, in the decision-making process. So public participation encompasses a range of public involvement, from simply informing people about what Parliament is doing to delegating decisions to the public. So can you imagine, guys? We're supposed to have been making decisions. We're supposed to have been aware. But this thing came on so fast, yeah, that we were not really included. Yeah. And it has many benefits, some of which are citizen empowerment, generation of new, diverse, and innovative ideas, information, actions, things like that. So we have been denied that public participation completely, you people. We have been. So in summary, what is this Gachagua being accused of? Yeah, he's facing many allegations. Yeah. So let me tell you which ones they are. He's accused of, start with number 1, the public statements that he made public statements that promote division and undermine the core values of our constitution. Yeah, you remember when Gashaga was talking about, shareholders. I don't know, this is a shareholder government, and those people who voted for the Kenya Kwanza Party, which won the election in 2022, will have access to more government services, and they would be brought from the back and put in the front. And those who did not vote for this particular government would go to the back. So, that public statement promoting division and undermining the core values of the Constitution, which include unity and inclusiveness, he was charged with that. That's the first one. And I don't really think he can really deny that, but on the other hand, he hasn't presented himself. So he needed to represent himself so that he can explain. Yeah. And he might be able to explain away this thing in a way that convinces those who understand the law that it's a non issue. The second thing that he was charged with, Gashagwa, is he was accused of contradicting government policies and failing to uphold his duties as deputy president, violating the principle of collective cabinet responsibility. So, for example, he was contradicting government policies such as, I guess we're hearing now, such as what we call the health, the NHIF moving to SHIF, yeah, to the SHIF. So, that's a national health insurance policy that we have now that was supposed to be moved into a different policy. So he was like against many policies. This other policy that he seemed to be against was about education at the universities, where they were ranking trying to put students in different categories according to the income of their parents so that they can have access to loans for university education. So it was in education, it was in health, and it was in many other areas that I can't remember right now. And that's the reason why I'm asking you to join me. The third one is that he made unilateral remarks that contradict the policies that we have collectively adopted as a government, damaging our credibility. Now, I don't know what that one is. Maybe you guys can tell me what that is. Further, it also alleges that he interfered with devolved county functions, undermining devolution and threatening the judiciary, violating the principle of judicial independence. Now, there is a case that this gentleman, Gashagwa, apparently he was fighting a case before he came even into parliament. There was a case that he had where he was being accused of embezzlement of funds from specific county coffers. And apparently he met up with this justice called Honorable Justice Esther Minor. And the Honorable Justice thought that there was reason for him to give back that money. That there was a reason, there was reason to believe that the monies that were moving around in his various accounts were not from him. So basically, he was accused of, because he could not explain what services he was providing in exchange for receiving those government funds, he was asked to refund that money. And that 200 million plus was put back into the coffers. But as soon as he became president, all that money was given. Ruto helped him to get that money back. And at least that's what I read. And then he went after the judge. He went after the judge. But the thing is that I've also seen that that particular judge has also been accused of fraud. She's actually facing her own another court case. She's also facing accusations of fraud from a different businessman who she accused of the same thing, of corruption and fraud, and where he said that his money was actually legitimate. So the thing that Gashagwa said was he was not really going after her for he was going after her because no, he was expressing his dissatisfaction because, again, like this particular case, he wasn't given a chance to represent himself. Can you imagine, guys? He wasn't given a chance to speak, just like now. So that is kind of weird and very concerning. Yeah, it is weird and concerning. So the third thing that was the third thing, interfering with the operations of county governments, undermining fundamental principles. He was accused of bullying people. But by the way, who doesn't bully? If all these people were told to go and present themselves, who of them would pass all 11 charges? But anyway, let me not try and sway your opinion either way. The other thing he has been accused of is failing to respect and defend the Constitution. making inflammatory remarks, allegedly violating the National Cohesion and Integration Act by promoting ethnic hatred. Well, yes, that's another issue that's related to his shareholding speeches, and also because there are times that he wanted to become the kingpin of the Kikuyu nation, the Kikuyu people, the Kikuyu tribe. So he was always, doing his best to try to engage the Kikuyu people in a way, but at the same time, he was, in a way, as a Kikuyu myself, I can tell you that he was not necessarily actually on our side initially at all. He kind of like forgot about his Kikuyu people, but they became convenient when he got into trouble. Yeah. Then the other thing that he has been told is that he has blatant disregard for the Constitution that he is sworn to uphold, putting our democratic values at risk. I guess that's because of, the fact that he does not, observe all the above. The other motion that was moved by this gentleman is that he's not actually a gentleman. He's not a very smart lawyer. By this guy, this lawyer, Mutuse, who moved the motion. The motion also claims that he engaged in corruption and money laundering while in office, undermining public trust and violating anti corruption laws. I think I've mentioned that before in terms of the corruption and fraud that he was accused or charged of. Additionally, he's accused of allegedly making false and malicious statements, breaching the Penal Code and Leadership and Integrity Act. I think you guys can help me with that one. Lastly, the motion cites gross misconduct, including reckless attacks on the National Intelligence Service. Yes, he did. Insubordination to the president, that one they could not prove. I think it was thrown out because the president hasn't actually filed anything to the Anti-Corruption Commission or to even to the courts or complained officially about insubordination. Bullying public officials, that one, and influencing corrupt practices. Bullying public officials, that one was stated by a lot of women, especially MPs, that he has engaged with, that he bullies them and that he talks rudely to them. And then influencing corrupt practices, that one has been mentioned. And the other one was what? Gross misconduct, including reckless attacks on the National Intelligence Service. Yes, he did come and he started to attack Nuruddin Haji, who at that time I believe was a director for public prosecutions, and he directly attacked him. I do remember that. And he said that he wasn't actually doing his job and all that as soon as he came into power. One of the things I can say about this Mr. Gashagwa is that he has a mouth that runs a mile a minute. He doesn't seem to have any sort of temperance to his tongue. Yeah, and that's one of the biggest problems that we have with Gashagwa. Now, I would like to hear from you guys if you have anything to say about everything that I'm saying here. How are we now? We still have 8 people listening. That's nice. Because actually I'm a bit distracted because I have to go back and forth to documents and look at them. Yeah. So basically that's it, guys. That's it with our current impeachment trial, which we're now waiting to hear from when? On the 24th, on Thursday. Does anybody want to join me in studio? Or are you guys all scared? Eh? Nataka kuingia kwa studio. Karibuni sana na munaweza ongea hata kwa Kiswahili. You can speak in Kiswahili, you can speak in English. Yeah. I can see we have 9 people watching. I know my English is difficult sometimes to understand, so I'll try to speak a little bit more slowly. Lakini, I think many people understand me basically, yeah? Okay, so that's where we are. That's where we are with the current situation. Let me see here. Meanwhile, let's talk about what's going on in our country. Let's move a little bit away from just the politics. Do you know that today, the member of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga, this is an area in Kenya, discovered that her daughter was murdered and raped and killed. Yeah, her daughter was raped and murdered after disappearing for a week. So let's talk about insecurity in our country, guys. It's a big, big issue in our country right now, especially where people are struggling to find jobs, or where people are trying to do business, and because the money is not circulating the way it should, people are having a really hard time. They have rents to pay for their businesses, for their homes. People are, we have rents to pay. We have some people have businesses, they have rents to pay, they don't have money. There's no money circulating in the economy right now. It's really tough. Although I would say that I was listening to one of the ladies who was saying that a lot of Kenyans have refused to go digital, and they're not doing digital they're not doing e-commerce, and that's the reason why they're struggling to do their sales. But I would disagree, because it depends on what it is you're selling. Also, you might just be in the right niche where you have people who actually use the internet, maybe a certain category of people, maybe a certain age bracket, maybe a certain type of thing, like maybe hair pieces, or people who sell hair, people who sell household appliances, household goods. Many of those ones are being bought by young people who are just starting their lives. But people who are older, like maybe in my age category, they may not be wanting to go online. They may also want to go have that experience of looking and seeing, because also when it comes to delivery, many people have complained that they don't actually get what they order. You see these kinds of memes where you see what I ordered and what actually I received. So there's that problem right now, that we have people who are struggling in business right now, and that's the majority of Kenyans. I've talked to Uber drivers, I've talked to cashiers at big supermarkets, and they're all complaining about the same thing. So I can't say that it's just because they're not going digital. Yeah, not everybody wants to have their food delivered to their houses. Some people want to go to the shop and buy. Yeah, we still have that culture of getting up, going to purchase and see what's on sale and things like that. Touch and feel and see what you're buying. So there's that problem right now that we're experiencing, okay, with our economy right now. And then, like I said, the churches themselves, the preachers are now coming up. We have Reverend Teresia Wairimo, and we have Apostle John Kimani William commenting on the government's rise to power through prayer and God's judgment because uh, of taking office by false pretenses. Now, for people who are Christians and strongly religious, I think it's time for you guys to read the Bible a bit more and learn about the fake preachers and the fake Christians out there, because religion is used as an opium for the masses, and we have to be very careful not to fall in the trap of religion. And remember that faith is superior. Yeah, faith is very, very superior. Yeah. Okay, so what else is going on here? I tried to look for some stuff. Oh yes, Gashagwa right now, the deputy president is claiming that the president has been very vicious towards him and his family, and he's begging for his life, which is so weird. He calls him my brother and my friend, and then he says, "Oh, please spare my life. Don't kill me and my change." Because if you remember during the elections, that's the same thing that Ruto was telling Uhuru. Oh, don't kill my children and don't kill me. These guys are drama kings and drama queens. But like I said, let's move away from that politics, and let's talk about what's going on economically. Kenya right now, and we talked about the tragic discovery of the MCA's daughter and after disappearance. And this is another woman disappearing. Kenya is starting to get known for women disappearing, women getting killed. Again, we also have clubs that are being shut down by the National Environmental Management Authority for breaching noise pollution. There's noise pollution everywhere. And the reason why there's so much noise pollution also is because people are using anything and anything to attract customers to their businesses. That happened when I went to a business, when I went to a supermarket. And for the first time, I heard such loud music coming from such a big supermarket chain. I was like, what's going on here, you guys? Yeah, there is noise pollution, and that's adding to the stresses of people, because when you have noise on top of the noise that's going on in your head, it just gets to be too much, too much. Yeah. So the other thing is that, yeah, we have potentially two deputy presidents as we speak. Kenya is a mess, I swear. Kenya is a mess. Kenya's economy, we are 75% debt to GDP ratio, and I believe that is a huge under report. I believe we could be close to 100%. Yeah. We could be close to 100%, really. Yeah. So we are having a problem with our economy right here. Life is expensive. Life is extremely expensive in Kenya. And I believe most of you guys would agree with me on that. Yeah, so I've talked a lot and I would like to hear from you guys. Can you ask me some questions? Maybe type in some questions in there, post a comment so that I can respond. You're welcome to do that. And also, I really want to hear from you. Fia, what do you have to say? Say something. You know, you always say something. Hmm? I'm going to start calling people now. Ask me questions. Tell me about your countries and your economies. How are they going? How is Zimbabwe? How is Cameroon? How is Nigeria? What's happening? Are we the only ones in this hot soup in East Africa? Hmm? Kenya, 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 Kenya. Hmm? Me, I was thinking to myself, nilikuwa nafikiria that Gashagwa can actually probably go and file a law case against the Mutuse who moved this motion for defamation. Yes, for defamation of character. Yes, because you see, the thing is, if he cannot prove what he's, what if he cannot prove these charges, if he cannot provide any sort of evidence of these charges, then all that is just like malice. It's malicious. Yeah, and it's criminal in nature. That's criminal to be that malicious that you would go and defame a character. So if I was Gashagwa, I would probably be going for that, filing a lawsuit against him and become a plaintiff in that. Yeah, because again, you know, he has also confused a lot of information and data. And there's this thing called the Data Protection Act, which was enacted in on 8th November 2019, and which goes into effect. You know, basically what it is, it's tied to the Constitution, and it guarantees the right of every person in the country not to have their information related to their family or private affairs unnecessarily required or revealed. So perhaps this guy overstepped his boundaries, and this could be an opportunity for him to go and file a lawsuit against the motion mover and against Senate and Parliament for infringement of his rights in terms of his privacy and also his character. Yeah. And then not being given access to a fair hearing. That's a very, very big thing, guys. It's not fair to not be fair. Because even murderers, even well known murderers, if they're sick, we are told that even if they're sneezing and they have a cough, they have a right to take a day off and have their case deferred to another date. They do have a right to go and see a doctor and have their case deferred to another date. Yeah. And we also have what they call the Civil Procedures Act and the Evidence Act and the Interpretation and General Provisions Act. So we have so many acts inside the Constitution, guys. Hmm? So the Kenya Law Reform Commission established the Kenya Law Reform Commission Act. Okay, and inside there, we have the Civil Procedures Act, Interpretation and General Provisions Act, and the Evidence Act. The Evidence Act actually was enacted in 1963. It's old. It's very old. Yeah. So, what does the Evidence Act say? The Evidence Act says it was enacted on December 10th, 1963. What does it say about evidence? It's an act of parliament to provide for the law of evidence. The law of evidence deals with aspects concerning the obtaining of evidence before trial. So, this guy, Mr. Mutuse, should have gotten the evidence before trial and adducing evidence at trial, applying and assessing evidence for the proof or disproof of a fact. So, procedures of evidence have evolved over the years, allowing for forbidding the use of particular evidence in court. So, guys, Mutuse, it is on him, okay, as a prosecution, yeah, or as the mentioner to provide and also the prosecution lawyers to provide the evidence, okay, that was required to impeach the deputy president. And then it's for the deputy president to defend himself, you know, using his defense team. Yeah, using his defense team. So, guys, this has not been done in Kenya. It has not been done. And it's unfortunate. Again, like I said, public participation, it has not been done. Again, conflict of interest. We have this Governor Orengo, who's also a lawyer. He's also one of the lawyers on the team of 14 lawyers of the prosecution. Okay, and there we go. There we go. Yeah. And then we also have incorrect information. I actually saw the response by the defense team. I saw their response to the special motion. Oh, there it is. I found it now. And I'm going to mention to you some of the things that the defense lawyers of Gashagwa was saying. Okay, some of some of the things that they did to deny Elisha Onyonga, the strong defense that case that they presented, some of the items that they mentioned. For example, when they talk about, let me just do a small search here and look up. For example, when we want to talk about, well, let me see here. Yeah. Okay. So basically, when we talk about fraud, okay, let's talk about fraud and let's talk about money laundering. Yeah, that's the right word. I was looking for money laundering. So he basically denied the whole, this charge of money laundering, and he was kind of able. The defense lawyers, were able to provide like a 500-page document. Hey, it's 500 pages, you people. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the actual. Let me see if I can do a search. I'll search. Yeah, it's very interesting though. I'm finding it quite interesting. Ah, yeah, there we go. Money laundering, 1 out of 9. So let me go through the document and see if I can see money laundering somewhere. Yeah. So they talked about the fact, many companies of Gashagwa were mentioned. Very many companies which were charged with money laundering. And what was so shocking is that some of these companies don't even belong to him. Hey, that is very, very frightening. So they mentioned the names of how many companies? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Very many companies. Oh my God, 15. How many are there? Like 20 companies. Very, very many companies. Yeah. And so most of these companies apparently they've been trading for 15 years. Yet he was accused of having acquired 5.1 billion in 2 years. Okay, this is Mutuse. He charged Rigathi Gachagua with obtaining money fraudulently to the point where he was at 5.1 billion in 2 years. But Rigathi Gachagua Foundation, for example, they were saying that they came up, they mentioned the name of the company and their responses. And in all these responses, one of them is a non-profit making entity, for example, the Rigathi Foundation. And they talk about how many millions they have there. They have various foundations with his wife which are incorporated, and some of them are for orphans, because you see, the wife is a pastor. They're for orphans and non-profit making entities. Another one here, Spirit Way. That company has never traded, has not even had a bank account. Yeah, yet it was mentioned. Other companies were incorporated 9 years before he became deputy president. Other companies have not traded with the government. There's no evidence of that. Entities have never traded, neither have had bank accounts. Um, this is what the defense lawyers are providing. Money laundering. This company has never traded. Pioneer Medical. This company has never traded for the last 10 years. How can it be involved in so-called massive money laundering or corruption for the last 2 years when it has been dormant for the last 10 years? Riddle Furniture Mart. 15 years before he was elected deputy president to undertake furniture business, currently manages rental properties. So there's so many charges of money laundering that cannot be, that cannot be substantiated. The company has never traded 15 years. Company never traded, doesn't have a bank account. Others, company doesn't even belong to him. He was elected as one of the companies. What did he say? He's part management of his late brother's company. He's got a brother called James Derito Gashagwa. And I wondered to myself whether there was confusion between his late brother's name and his name. So you'll find that the full particulars set out in an affidavit filed before the National Assembly by co-executors. Copies of the affidavit are there. They are part of the management structure of an estate that his brother left him to manage on his behalf when he was gone, because he's apparently considered an honest man by his brother. So other companies, they've not been in existence for 10 years, whatever, whatever. So basically, Mr. Mutuse has a case to answer. Yeah, he does have a case to answer. And I would really love to see Gashagwa represent himself in court. It would only be fair if he could represent himself in court. Again, being sick is no reason to deny somebody appearance in court, because you can get sick at any time. Yeah? You can get sick at any time, anywhere, especially when you're under stress. And I saw that his doctor, the heart specialist, Dr. Kikonyo, came out on the very same day in the night to say that anybody who is over the age of 45 to 50 should go for evaluation and can easily present with heart problems. And so, because of that, because Gashagwa called his doctor after lunch, after having lunch, to say that he was having chest pains, the doctor told him to describe them, and he said that they were getting worse and described where they were. And the doctor said, now leave everything you're doing and come, because this guy is not a young man. Yeah. So the doctor told him, leave everything you're doing and come. So he was supposed to be cross examined that afternoon. And so he disappeared, and his lawyers didn't know where he was, apparently. And that's what they say. And eventually, he was found to have been held at the hospital. And then the doctor said that any doctor anywhere around the world, anybody who presents themselves with ailment of the heart, chest pains, for example, would have to be observed for a period of 48 to 72 hours. And so that's what he recommended. So that was on Thursday. So that 48 to 72 hours, that would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? So the defense team requested the the National Assembly, the Speaker of the National Assembly and the National Assembly senators to give him up until Tuesday, yeah, so that he could come and represent himself. And that's when they declined. Yeah. And so you see how unfair this whole thing is. It doesn't make any sense because even the perception of justice is just not there. Yeah, it just wasn't there. I hope you guys are enjoying my session because I'm soon going to be ending it. Yeah, so there you go. I thought that this thing is just so interesting. They're saying that on Spice FM, which is a radio show, no, a TV show actually, Rigathi Gachagua is said to have been politically lynched. That is how Dr. Ikuru Aukot, who is one of the writers of the Constitution and the leader of Third Way Alliance Party of Kenya, which I was a member of at some point, Dr. Ikuru Aukot, he actually considers this political lynching because it is so unfair, the unfair application of misapplication or non-application of the law. It's really pathetic. It's so sad to see such a thing with people who are considered to be educated. Yeah. Another thing that happened today, guys, or was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Several people feared dead. A 7-story building collapsed in a place called Kahawa West with a 7-story apartment complex collapsed, guys, collapsed. Accidents also happen. Right now, they have a search and rescue team there because there are several families that are trapped under the rubble. So there's so many sad things that are going on, you guys, in Kenya that it's everybody's just stressed. They can't take it. It's just too much stress. Yeah, it's just too much. Hi, young Luo. I think Gachagua might have done more than what came out during the impeachment, and he's well aware of that. Yes, young Luo. How about if he just represented himself? Yeah. What do you think? Hmm? Hi, Monitor. Thank you for that comment that you like my analysis. And one boy Jacobs, I told so many people not to vote for this scummer. How did the church miss this? How? How, one boy? How? Sérieusement, sérieusement. They score a zero. We used to have this teacher, French teacher, and he would, be reading the marks of some people in the class, and he would say, Susan, zero. So and so, zero. Zero. Actually, Kenyans just score a zero on this because we really did very, very poorly in terms of electing this Kenya Kwanza government. So I want to just say thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I appreciate it. You're 4 of you now. I can see a few of you keep coming on and going out, and thank you for your thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Please join me. The problem I have right now is just maybe access to electricity cable. But if you want me to continue, we can continue talking, and then you can join me. If you want to join me, you tell me. Then I'll just move. I'll go over to my office so that we It won't be such a nice environment, but at least I'll have access so that my battery doesn't fade in the I've got like not very much left. Yeah. So, guys, I mean, I think that let's look at this whole picture holistically. Let's look at it in light of what are they hiding? Yeah, what are they doing behind our backs? Why have they decided to deflect our attention with this impeachment? Is this thing choreographed, as some people are saying it might be? Is it possible that Gachagua might actually retain his position? Is it possible? Is it? Is it possible? Oh, it's getting dark over here. Try and move a little bit. Yeah. Is it possible that Gachagua might actually retain his position? And if he does, what does that mean now for us? Huh? What happens to Kithure Kindiki if he retains his position? Does that mean we're going to have two DPs? Kenya is a very interesting country. Oh, very interesting country. Hmm? Let me see. I think Gachagua might have done more than what came out during the impeachment, and he's well aware of that. Young Lua, why don't you explain to me, like, what more could he have done? Because I think this Mutuse, and these guys who were on a lynching spree, I think they tried to really get, like, at least those 11 counts, at least that they felt that they were sure of. Believe me, Young Lua, like I said before, I am not on Gashagua's side. No, I'm not. I'm not even on the Kenya Kwanzaa side, by the way. I'm not. No, I'm on Gen Z side. Me, I like Gen Z. Me, by the way, I even think that we should have a woman. Just imagine you people, just think about it. Huh? Imagine if we had a woman vice president or president right now. Don't you think that that woman right now would be competing with Suluhu of Tanzania, vibaya sana? You know the way women are very competitive with one another. Yeah? We've been competing to see who is running their country better than the other. Women have been women leaders and women presidents. Even, we have, prime ministers around the world, women, who some of them, of course, are not performing, but the ones who perform really outperform. I really believe that Kenyans should give a woman a chance this time. Please let us not allow a duo of two men the next election around. At least let it be balanced. A woman and man, we need to balance each other off. Yeah. So that, like the deputy president, if she was a woman, or even if the president was a man and the DP was a woman, for example, one would be telling the other something, because we are different. We're looking at things on different ends. The woman would definitely have to go shopping at some point. She would know the cost of potatoes and onions and tomatoes in the market. She would be hearing from women who are saying, I cannot educate my child. Yeah. She would have a heart. We are run by the emotions as women. We need those emotions because those are the emotions that are missing. Missing right now. We have cold hearted fish in parliament. People who don't feel. They're not feeling. They're not feeling for the poor. They're not feeling for the young people. They're not. But as a woman, as a mother, doesn't matter who you are, you will feel. You will feel. And you will do something to try and make life better, for the next woman's child, because you're also thinking maybe in future it will be your kid. All of us think about our children. All of us think about nephews, nieces, and young people. I myself, for sure, I do that. Yeah. But I know that we should be looking for a woman somewhere to lead us. Did you see the work that Charity Ngilu did in Ukambani? Drilling boreholes. How many boreholes did she drill in Ukambani, in Kitui? Kitui is a beautiful place now. Why? Because of people like her. Hmm? Because of what she did. And I don't think we give enough credit. Do you remember Esther Passaris, with all her bad rap that she gets from Miguna Miguna? Yeah? Esther Passaris is Madame Lights. Because of her, we have street lights all over Nairobi. Why? We have street lights in the market. We have street lights in Nairobi. It's like nowadays people come from different parts of the world, and they tell us that, oh, Kenya is such a wonderful place. But we don't give enough credit where it's due. We need to give credit to the ladies who have been working behind the scenes to make things work in our country. Hmm? So I really feel that we need to this time think about electing a woman. Whoever runs without a woman running mate should not even be thought of, even considered. Yes, young people should lead, but we also need women in positions of power. It's time. It's time. We need a complete overhaul, guys. We need a complete overhaul. The way I look at it, because Not to say that men cannot lead or won't lead, but to say, can we just give women a chance and see what happens? Because the fool is the one who does things the same way every time and thinks that they're going to get a different result. What if we don't? Hmm? Please just do me a favor, everybody. Let's not elect Kenya Kwanza people team on again. Apart from the ones who are performing, and it's not everyone who is bad, yeah. So we should vet all of them. All of them should be vetted. Everybody should be vetted. Now, I'd like to talk because I know a lot of Kenyans are on here. I'd like us to talk about Morara Kebaso. Do you know why I want to talk about Morara Kebaso? Because he's doing the job that I do as a professional. I'm an evaluator. Yeah. That's what I am. And I feel like I haven't even done a good job of evaluation here because I haven't had time and I haven't done a good cross tabulation. And this is the reason why in evaluation, we have this thing called triangulation. Yeah. Triangulation is this thing where it's a triangle like that. Yeah. So we have different points, 1, 2, 3. So this triangulation talks about sources of information for you to make accurate decisions. The idea is to have quality, accurate decisions. Yeah, accurate interpretation of the information and decisions. One of the strongest sources is from the horse's mouth, from Gashagwa himself. We needed to hear from him directly, oral evidence. And even the law talks about oral evidence, written evidence. Yeah, there's oral evidence, written evidence, and I believe there's evidence. Yeah, so we have different types of evidences. So the oral evidence is very limited. So we can't make an accurate decision, especially when the person who is accused of committing these yeah, these charges, yeah, who is charged with the crimes or charged with these, felonies, whatever they are. I'm using the wrong words, right? I know lawyers are listening to me and they're like, woo, come on board and help me. So anyway, we need to triangulate information, and anywhere where you're seeing just two sides, just we're not hearing from the people themselves. Yeah, we're also not hearing from ourselves. We're not hearing from public participation, from the person who is charged with the crime, and then from those who are representing us in Parliament and in the Senate. Those are three sources, at least three sources. And then, of course, there's the documentation. So we'll be hearing from where? There should be Gashagwa and his team. We should be hearing from Mutuse and his team. Yeah. And then we also should be here, Mutuse and his team, as well as the Senate. And then we should also be hearing from the Senate. Yeah, the Senate, the Parliament, and Gashagwa himself. Yeah. And then us, public participation, us, directly, not just indirectly through the lawyers. No, sorry, through the parliamentarians, not just through the parliamentarians. Directly, we should be influencing decisions. Yeah. So anyway, let's just wait and see what happens on Thursday. Yeah, I'll try to come on board again and I'll be listening out to see where we are from now. Any questions? Any questions? Oh, any questions? Anyone want to say something about the economy? The economy is so hard on us this time. It's hard on us, guys. Tumerambwa kweli kweli, tumerambwa kabisa. Tumerambwa na hii economy imekuwa mbaya sana. So I know it's kind of like early in the day, and I should have done this at night when everybody would be listening, but it's also kind of like a trial run to see what you're thinking. But I'm disappointed with the churches. These churches, honestly, do you guys go to church? Can you people just talk? I don't understand. Let me give you. I saw parallels between, guys. I see parallels between the church and doctors during COVID. Yeah, the medical profession during COVID, and the church during this impeachment. Do you know what the parallels are? Let's talk about COVID now. During COVID, we got instructions to wear masks. All of us had to wear masks. All of us had to have our temperatures taken. They talked about lockdown. Yeah, they locked us down. There were so many things. And then they brought on vaccinations that had not been researched on for the period that they're supposed to be. They had not been tried. They had not been through their clinical trials long enough. They had not gone through at least 10 years of clinical trials. They were just like emergency vaccinations, like emergency protocol. So we became the guinea pigs. And guess who was threatening us the most? Doctors themselves. Doctors, nurses, especially doctors. And what happened in the end? In the end, they started showing that many of these vaccinations were causing people to have what? Myocarditis. This is something that has been I actually lost a friend. I've lost a friend, and I've also lost one relative to myocarditis. But we do not talk about this. What is myocarditis? Myocarditis is blood clots in the heart. Yeah, blood clots in the heart and other parts of the body, and hardening of the heart arteries and things like that. So all these untested vaccines have now been pulled out of the market. AstraZeneca has been pulled out of the UK market. I live in the UK part of the time, and many people were vaccinated, and many people actually lost their lives. I have many friends. Actually, I have, when I start to count them, they become more and more. Some of them are here in Kenya. And I don't want to scare you if you guys were vaccinated. All I can say to you, if you were vaccinated, I can tell you, as somebody who has studied nutrition, that you should be eating a lot of pineapples. Hmm? You should be eating a lot of pineapples because of the bromelain, which is in pineapples, which is an enzyme that digests protein. It digests the protein, and it was been shown that it digests the nucleus the the what of the COVID, whatever. I don't know. But you should be very careful with your diet. Yeah. And go for checks, go for checkups, and be careful with your diet. Yeah. And the other one now. So the church, here's the church blindly, just like the medicals, people were blindly getting everybody to get vaccinated during COVID. The church blindly supported the Ruto regime. They supported the wheelbarrow movement. The wheelbarrow movement, which was going to take us back to pre-industrial age. Hmm? Might as well have been living in caves if you're thinking of wheelbarrows. Me, I would have expected them to be telling me about nice phones, and there should have been something like a nice phone, a nice iPhone or something. Who wants to go back to the wheelbarrow age? Hmm? And even if you want to talk about wheelbarrow in terms of agriculture, that wasn't the focus of this government at all. That was the focus of the Azimio, that they wanted to get people like what Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso is doing. Yeah, he wanted to actually bring a lot of young people into the agricultural space to add value. Yeah, to agriculture and to go back into farming. But that was not the focus of this particular regime, and I don't even think they even had a focus except just to eat, to come and eat as much as they could. And we have to change this culture that we have now, you guys, of eating where we did not sow. The best kind, I'm talking from experience, that it's better to suffer and struggle, to try to make a business, to try to earn your money yourself, because you get satisfaction from it, number one, and number two, you learn how to make the money. But if you're getting this money free, then you create this very predatory culture. Yeah, predators, everybody's a predator. Kill 'em, you're like a tick. Eh? You just want to come and suck the blood of everybody who is working. And that is a predatory culture that we have of the Kenya Kwanza regime, because they don't know how to make money, and they're so scared that when they leave office that they will have no money, which is ridiculous, while the rest of young people are doing their best to try to make money. Yeah, to try to learn how to do business and make money themselves. And this is not the culture of the Kenya Kwanza regime at all. And therefore, they don't support businesses. They do not support businesses. They do not give any sort of concessions to business people. They tax businesses so highly, and they're playing into the one world order. And that's now another topic. I don't want to get into another topic. I think we can move forward. Here we go. Here is Young Lo. So many vaccinated people are just dropping off the grid. It's true. It's true. And nobody's talking about it here, Young Lo. Nobody's talking about it. Kenyans are scared of talking about it. I think we should talk about it. Have you noticed, like, any of your elderly parents passing away just like that? Do you know Africans, we live long? 80s, 90s. Yeah, you find your elderly parents just dropping off, and nobody has actually done. I think from now on, we should all insist as much as we can on autopsies. Yeah, to check what killed the person. We should find out what killed people. Don't just bury bodies. Find out what, do the best you can to get autopsies done on your loved ones, on your relatives, to find out what killed them, especially if they're taking that vaccine. We need to start documenting in Africa. We need to start documenting in Kenya what the death rates are from myocarditis and many other things. And next time when you see all these chanjos coming up, we know we have this Maisha number that's been put in children. We need to sensitize mothers who are in the village, especially the uneducated ones, not to allow their children to have Maisha number inserted, that microchip inserted into their bodies, because we don't really know what that microchip will be used to do. It could be used for mind control and many other things. So I'm very widely read, and I'm not going to talk about everything. I'm sure you are too, and that's why you're here. I really have enjoyed my chat with you guys. Thank you so much. Um, I'm gonna have to go because my battery is going down now. Would you like to say something else? Yeah, I really enjoyed just being with you, and I'm going to note your names down so that next time I see if you're back. As far we have one boy. One boy, tell me about the church next time a bit more. And who is this? The main, it's main tier. Oh, it's main tier. Yeah. Next time you guys should just come on board. Let's talk. Each one of you will come up with something new, and then we investigate that one. Then we have young Luo. Young Luo, where is old Luo? You might want to bring them on board as well. Then we have Fia. Yeah, and we had my friend Ida. Ida is actually working. She works in the US, so she can't be on very long. But it's been such a bloody nice time chatting with you. Oh, did I just swear? It's been such a lovely time chatting with you guys, and nimeenjoy sana kuongea na nyinyi, na nimejaribu kuongea Kiswahili lakini ikaisha. Kiswahili yangu ikaisha kabisa, and oh my god, it sounds so bad, lakini nitajaribu. Maybe if I spoke in my language Kikuyu, it would be easier. But who would understand? The young Luo would not understand nothing. So Swahili is the mother tongue, is our language, and we should do our best to communicate in Kiswahili. Otherwise, we kind of like we're not reaching like 90% of Kenyans who need to understand what's going on. Yeah. Okay, and thank you very much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you very much, Fia, and thank you for supporting me. Fia has always been with me, and see you next time very soon. Love you guys. Take care. Yeah, I'm gonna be closing shop now. Nimefunga duka. Na next time we'll be discussing. Let's see what happens next. Yeah, we'll discuss that. You can always also offer me suggestions for what to discuss next time. So thank you for being here. You're all loved. You're all wonderful. And remember that we have to really watch our lives, because there are people who want to finish us. It's true. It's not just Gashagwa it's the world. It's global. Yeah. We have to be very careful with everything. Careful with your language. Careful with your food. Careful where you live, what you say, who you're around. Just be careful and watch your kids. Much love to you guys. Bye bye. To-dos.